This week on SailAway, we're reaching the midpoint of our 1,400-mile journey from St. Thomas to Charleston. And after our drama with the main halyard the day before, we find ourselves in tinker mode.
Isn't what we like to see first thing in the morning?
But if we're looking for something to do, we don't have to look far. Because the first light wind of our journey means it's Spinnaker time. So we drag out this old neglected chute for the very first time.
Spinnaker beer.
And show you exactly how we rig it, hoist it, jibe it, and douse it. But we're also getting very close to our midway point.
That is a lot.
So we're getting really close to the bank that surrounds Ragged Island, which means we're going to try once again to catch some damn fish.
Fish.
It feels big.
Yeah.
And we arrive at the Raggeds with only one prop functioning, and a lot of miles left to go.
Ever wish you could escape normal life and experience more of the world?
So maybe on that island. Well, we did just that. We sold everything we owned on dry land and sailed away. Promise me that we'll sail away.
Now we are roaming the planet in search of new adventures and sharing it with you every week.
Just promise me that we'll sail away. So hit subscribe and escape normal with us. I'll be yours forevermore. Come on, it's just that little button down there. That's it. After a few days on passage, you start looking for things to do, which sometimes means looking for things to fix, which is really good for the boat.
Isn't what we like to see first thing in the morning? What's going on?
Nothing much. Your dad found a backing plate that needed tightening.
What else are we going to do on passage?
He was trying to figure out how to make the autopilot quieter. And it's really just the pump noise that makes it run like that.
And this is my hand with the marble in it.
Day 3.5. I don't know what day is it.
I think it might be 3.
Just 3. Lovely weather today. Kind of lighter wind. About 10 to 12 knots. We're actually sailing downwind
And
now.
look at this.
Yeah, Rivers has got his passage toy constructed. It does all kinds of
It
jumps
is a marble run, Dad.
Yeah, it's really
Got
cool.
it.
Yeah, we just got a weather report. With the adventures from yesterday, with the halyard, it's working fine. It's just a single halyard and not the 2-to-1 purchase. Like most of the cats that I've seen are like ours, where it has a 2-to-1 purchase system. So basically, it terminates all the way at the top of the mast, comes down, goes through the block at the head of the sail, and then up and through the mast. And up there, where it terminates, it pulls everything up real tight. And so that's the chafe point. There's a couple places there where it just sits. Same place every single time that it's full hoist. And that was one of the things I wanted to look for before we left, and I just didn't have time to go up the mast. It's one of those things. Should have done it one way or the other. Regardless, we were able to get it cut away and drop down so that we could pull it out back onto the core and get it all put together. Attached it just directly to the top of the head. So it'd be nice to get that fixed completely and take a look at the wind instrument, see if there's a chafe issue up there that might be what's causing that not to work.
You may remember when we took possession of the boat, we discovered an old, very moist, neglected Spinnaker up in the bow locker. Well, I was determined we'd fly it on passage, so I'd been preparing.
Day has come. Find out what happens when we put this thing up.
It looks pretty gross.
I'd bought lines for sheets and tack lines on eBay and had Chris bring them in his luggage when he met us in St. Thomas. We got both the sheets run through the boat's deck hardware first and tied to the clew of the sail.
Close in on the biceps.
We also set up the tack lines, but we'll show you that in a minute. This asymmetrical Spinnaker looked a little sad when we first drug it out, but it seemed to be intact and came with a pretty decent dowsing sock. The sock has a continuous control line for both releasing and dousing the Spinnaker. Make sure this line is completely free and making a straight line to the deck before you fully hoist. We're just testing right now and not fully releasing the Spinnaker. Not having a bowsprit, we run 2 separate tack lines to each bow and fix it with the bow cleat. Then with the boat on a deep, broad reach, you fully raise the sock.
Oh, it's getting full.
This being our first time with this setup on this boat, we guessed at the tackline settings and then adjusted them once the chute was filled. And this is just me realizing we didn't quite have a full hoist on the spin halyard.
What do you think of that, Sail? Yeah? You think it will go fast with that?
It's way more funner than that.
Yeah.
That looks like a giant kite.
Oh, yeah, that's what they call it.
Kite?
A kite.
No sign of it.
It's flying and it didn't rip to shreds as we hoisted it. How about that, huh? We've been wondering about this thing since the day we found it. It's had a little repair work done, but my God, she's flying pretty nice. Pretty much just put all the stuff together today. We went with a pretty simple setup, which I think is how it was probably intended to run on this boat. So we had 2 tackline controls, one on either side. I ordered some nice low friction rings to do that with, but they didn't show up in time. Straight to the cleat. Up to the clue. Tack, sorry. Back down. Running 2 of them that way, you can adjust how far across the center line of the bow you want the tack to be and how high. So you can get pretty nice tension on the luff, and if you're really shooting up wind, you can bring it across toward the windward side. And we don't plan on using it under anything other than super light wind. So there's really not all that much load on these. Haha! We got an A sail. Makes me happy. Good work. Good trimming, JP.
Yeah.
Spinnaker beer. We don't let ourselves have many beers while on passage, but this is a good time to do it. Not too bad. Got 6.3, doing 4.2. Take that. Now we just start heading the right direction.
Now it was time to jibe. I was driving and controlling the main, so I centered the Traveler and brought the sheet in to bring the main across gently.
Probably going pretty much below this one, right?
Yeah, it floats its way out.
Then we very slowly turned the stern through the wind, gently jibing the mainsail across, and fully releasing the working sheet so the whole Spinnaker can float across in front of the forestay, bringing in the new working sheet on the other side. Dial in the new course and trim the sail.
Yeah, it is.
And don't forget to celebrate when it goes this well, because sometimes it really doesn't.
All fun must come to an end.
It says nothing to it.
Nothing to it.
And they're right. With a dowsing sock, it's really easy. Just ease the tension on the sheet a bit and bring it down. When it's almost fully down, ease the tack lines for that last little bit. You've obviously noticed that we fly the Spinnaker with the mainsail also up. We know a lot of people don't, but here's why it's a good idea. First off, it's simply faster. In light air, more sail area just means a faster boat. But here's the big one. If the wind starts to come up in a hurry, you run the risk of blowing out your Spinnaker. By running almost dead downwind, you can blanket the Spinnaker with the main, eliminating a lot of that wind pressure for a drama-free douse.
All that darkness is rain coming down.
Hey. Marty.
It's like the rain just like put it out.
Moving and a grooving.
Pancake breakfast morning.
Second pancake.
Oop.
Oh, that is a lot. The boat is rocking.
Yeah,
The boat is really
that's what happened. Well, we're cruising along toward Ragged Island.
So we can have a rest and hopefully we get there on today or Sunday.
We'll get there today. Yeah, we're definitely getting there today. And then we've got to take a look at the weather again and figure out what our next move is, because we don't really know. Another pretty good night last night. Hauled ass in high 20s. But then it finally kind of chilled out. About 15 knots all day today. And
Look at all the buzzer on my fork.
I'm my gosh, you better lick it off.
Eat your food.
So we're getting really close to the bank that surrounds Ragged Island, which means we're gonna try once again to catch some damn fish.
Well, what's 6 plus 6? Yeah. Write it down.
Rivers is having math class and Lauren is having art class. Zeke is a hall monitor.
Zeke has been going to the bathroom on the deck, haven't you?
He's got to break the seal and then he's good to go.
Make sure the depth sounder works.
We'd made good enough time in the first 4 days that there was just enough wind left in the forecast to sail right on past Great Inagua and hopefully make it all the way to the Ragged Islands. The Ragged Islands are an extremely remote southern chain in the Bahamas. We weren't planning to check in, just possibly rest for a night and wait for the lull that we knew was coming.
I might bring in that hand line.
Okay.
Feels big.
Yeah. Oh no, we lost another one.
It was on there, like it was literally on there just like a second ago.
What? Did it come off? Just kidding.
Definitely in the Bahamas. It's 12 feet deep.
Depth charting in the Raggeds is also not 100% accurate, so we watched our depth closely all the way in.
Why are we so far away from land?
It's really shallow.
You ever check the oil on that?
But as we were anchoring, I completely lost forward gear on our starboard motor.
Shitload of fishing line around it. That might be ours. I have no idea how on earth it would wind up on there. It doesn't make sense at all to me.
We never could figure out how it might have been ours since we never motored while we were fishing. But after 15 minutes of repeated breathless dives, I finally got it free.
Can you stand on the bottom and touch the rudder?
What's it? It reads 6, but it's 9.
It reads 6.9, and I would say it's there's at least 3 feet under the keels, maybe 4. And then if the keels are, like I said, about 5 feet deep, then that's about 9 feet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's off by 2 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Cheers.
Halfway passage drink.
Okay. Is that cheese out of a prepackaged cheese selection kit, you might ask yourself? How could it not be when it's sliced that perfectly? Where did you get those skills?
I'm a cheese cutter from way back.
Lauren, you gotta see this cheese cutting. Oh, I wanna eat it. This is the Ragged Islands, and this is about as much as we're going to see. Been looking at the weather and trying to figure out how we want to do things, and it's going to get real late everywhere in the Bahamas over the next couple days, so we're going to eat dinner early, go to bed early, and get up real early, like 2 o'clock, and get moving to try and take advantage of the wind that's here right now, which is not much. Our plan is to go on around Andros Island to the west and up toward Bimini. We're going to try to get up there to wait for the wind to shift around so we can hop in the Gulf Stream and hopefully get up to Charleston before the next big front comes off of the East Coast, and it's going to be a real bad one. So we're going to hug the west side of the Gulf Stream so that we can ditch into the East Coast if we have to. Yeah, that's the plan. We're not going to see much of the Ragged Islands. This is kind of it. Not getting off the boat. We're just kind of eager to keep going. I'm not the only one working out this guitar this trip.
It's the best I got.
Play some Tenacious D.
Yeah. Someday I'd love to be able to do that.